Hey gang, today I want to talk about estimating fractions. Now you might be familiar with estimating where you think you have to round, okay, where we're rounding to a nearest 10 or 100 or 1,000. In this case it's a little bit different. When you estimate, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make a logical guess, okay? And so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be taking a look at a fraction that's not fully defined. You don't have all the lines, you don't have equal sized parts, and we're going to try to estimate the best we can how much of that fraction is shaded. Okay, remember that when you're doing fractions, you always have a part, a numerator, compared to the whole in your denominator. Well, pardon me, we're going to have a part, but what we're not going to be able to see clearly is the whole. And so we're going to have to find a way to determine or estimate what that whole is going to be. Okay, so I've got some pictures up here, and then there should be an attachment that goes along with this where you'll be able to practice some on your own. It's going to be a whole lot easier for you to draw than it is just to look. Okay, so you're going to kind of watch this, and then you'll be able to I'll model, and then you'll be able to do on the attachment. All right, so we're going to start with this first one, and I'm asking you to estimate what fraction is shaded. Remember, it is a fraction because there's more than nothing shaded, and there's not a complete figure shaded. So it's between 0 and 1, as all fractions are. Right. All right, so we got this much shaded. So we know that our numerator, at least, is going to be what? Our numerator, the part we're looking for, the shaded part, is going to be 1, right? And this is it. Okay, the question is, how many of these would fit in this shape? And that's what we're really working on today. How do you determine how many of these are going to fit? Okay, you know your numerator is going to be 1, because there's your one piece. Well, now to find the denominator, I don't want you to look and guess. What I really would like you to do, and I know you can't do it now, I'd like you to draw on the figure. Go ahead and mark right on the figure, all right? And what you're going to have to really, really try to do the best you can is you're going to have to try to visualize, all right, see in your mind how big the pieces are so that you're making equivalent sized pieces all the way down. Remember that with a fraction, you have to have pieces that are the exact same size, okay? You're not going to be able to take, you can't take two things that are two different sizes, okay? One thing's this big, one thing's this big, and say, oh, this is half. It's not. They have to be the same size. So what I need you to do is I need you to look at the figure, and I need you to try to cordon off or block off the same size pieces. So I can see this is this big. Now, if you had a piece of paper or something, you could surely do that. If you had a piece of paper and you wanted to mark here and there and then slide it down and mark again, you could absolutely do that. Okay? If I could find a piece of paper, I would do it for you. I do see one. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. I could take a piece of paper, I could put it here, and I could mark from the corner to that spot. Well, that's going to that distance right there, and I know you can't see it, from here to there, that's the width of that piece. I could put that here, and I could mark it, and that's where my second one's going to go. Okay? And then I could move it down, and I could mark it again, and that's where my third one's going to go, and then my fourth one would be there. Okay? So I could do that. I could kind of visualize it and do that, and I'd end up with, first of all, do these pieces look like they're the same size? For the most part, it's on a human drawing, so they're not going to be exact. Do they look like they're about the same size? Sure they do. Sure they do. So then, now that I've drawn them on there, and I want you to be able to draw them on there, what fraction would this be? Well, I've still got 1 in my numerator. There's 1 shaded part, and there are 4 total. So this would have been 1/4. Okay? There's no way you can guess without drawing them on there. You're just not going to be accurate. You have to go ahead and try to draw the blank pieces that are the same size. Let's take a look at this one, okay? Pardon me, gang. Again, my numerator is going to be the shaded part, 1, right? 1. Now, you can see that this is up here. It doesn't go the whole length, right? So it's going to be, can I draw a line across there? Yeah, I can. This is going to be this is in the top half, okay? This is going to be in 2 parts, right? So I know that's going to look like that. Do they look the same size? They do, right? All right, now I'm going to do this one without the paper, okay? I want to look and I want to make a mark that's about the same size. Well, it looks like it's about there. Do they look about the same size? Right? I I think they do. That looks like that's about as wide as that, and that's about as wide as that. It's pretty darn close, isn't it? Okay? And so I do the same thing top and bottom, and now I have one piece out of 6. I'm trying to make the pieces as close to being the same size as I can. Okay? Now, this is good. You have to have a skill called spatial visualization. You got to be able to see it. If you don't see it, it's hard. Okay? And if you don't see it, then you might want to use a paper where you're marking, where you're going to mark the distance. Now, this one will be a little tougher to do. Okay? First of all, what's this shape that I have? Do you know what it is? 6 sides? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? It's a hexagon. Okay? And you see the shape that I have is a triangle there. All right? I'm coming from the vertex here, or the corner, and I'm going to the center point here. Again, my numerator would be 1 because I have one piece. Okay? How do you think I'm going to go and make these other pieces? I've gone from the vertex to the center, vertex to the center. Can we do that? We're all going to come to that point, right? So I want to come on here. How many do you think I'll be able to get around there? You have a guess? We'll see. I heard it. I heard what you guessed. We'll see. All right, so I'm going to go from the vertex to the center point. Do those two pieces look the same? Pretty close? Yes, absolutely. Vertex to the center point. Okay, do they look the same? Yeah, they're starting to look the same, aren't they? Vertex to the center point. Vertex to the center point. Okay, again, doing the best I can to make them look the same, look equivalent, right? All right, so now how many pieces do I have all together? You're not just counting the white ones now, all of them. How many are there? 1, 2, 3 on the bottom, 1, 2, 3 on the top. There are 6. This is also 1/6 shaded. Okay, 1/6 shaded. All right, take a look at the next one. Next one's kind of weird. I have this kind of funky shape up here. Not everything's going to be a regular figure like you're used to seeing. Okay, this one's a little different. I've got 3 different rectangles that are put together, and I want to know what fraction of the whole thing is shaded. Well, look what's happening here. Look what the shaded part here. I've taken the rectangle and it's been divided on a diagonal into 2 parts, right? So what have I got to do everywhere else? I've got to divide every rectangle into 2 parts with a diagonal, right? So I've got to do this, and I've got to do this. Okay, should you draw it on your paper when you have this in front of you? Absolutely you want to draw it on there. So now that I've done that, now I can see that a piece for this is going to look like that. That. Okay, they look the same, all right? How many colored in pieces do I have, or shaded pieces? I have 1. And how many of those triangular pieces are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 of them. All right, there are 6. So I have 1/6 of that figure that would be shaded. Now, everything's not going to be a rectangle or a square. You had a hexagon. Now you've got a circle here. Okay? I've got a circle. Can you give me an estimate on this one? I bet you can. You can see that the numerator is going to be 1, right? Numerator will be 1. Okay? And your denominator will be, what do you think? How many of these are we going to be able to make? Let's see. If I drew a line straight across, those pieces look the same. If I drew a line straight down, those pieces look the same. It's 1/4. 1/4. Okay? All right, I want to do something else. Same idea. Okay? Sometimes, I don't want you to think your numerator is always going to be 1. Sometimes it gets a little, it can be different. Sometimes you get something that'll look like this. And you'll be asked, how much is shaded? Okay. Well, you've got to figure out, first of all, what a piece looks like. Okay? What is one piece going to look like? Well, you have 2 shaded things in here. You have this and you have this. Is there some way that you can make this look like that? Or rather, let me change that. Is there some way you can make this look like that? There's not. You can't take this and expand it. Is there some way to make this look like those? There is. What can you do to make these look like you draw a line across the middle, right? If I do this, now those look like that. Does that make sense to you? Do you see what I did? Okay, I drew this line across, and now every piece looks like this. And now I continue to do that. I've got to do this up here, and now all of my pieces look the same. Okay. So the very first thing I did, again, you got to shade it, or you have to draw the line so that all the pieces become the same. All right. And now it's just name the fraction. Okay. What fraction is shaded? There are how many shaded pieces? 3. That's my numerator, the part I'm looking for. The total, 6. So I get 3/6. 3/6. All right. Hey, if I wanted to find an equivalent fraction, what could I do? An equivalent fraction of this. What can I divide them both by? Okay, I could divide both of those. What are the factors of 3? 1 times 3. So I'm going to divide these by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Half of that is shaded. 1/2 of this. Anybody look at it and say, how's that half? Well, could I take this square and bring it down here? I could, couldn't I? If I took this and brought it here, that would be the bottom half that would be shaded. That's going to be equal to half. But anyway, that's not what we're doing today. Just wanted to throw that in there. All right, so let's do another one of these where we have to figure out these shaded amount. Let's do this. Let's see. All right. Do that. Do that. Do that. All right. All right. This one looks kind of weird. All right. I want to figure out the amount that's shaded on this one. So let's take a look at it. I want to see if I can I want to see what a piece looks like. Okay. If I drew this line, if I continue this line straight, that's going to help me out. Okay. If I did this. Do you see the size of a piece now? It's right there, isn't it? I got to make this in here. Okay. That square right there is the size of my piece. All right. I drew my line and it showed itself right there. So I'm going to see if I can do that over here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go there. And now I've got 3 pieces that are the same size. I'm going to take these lines and go up now. And now I've got 3 rows of 3 each. Do you see it? Okay. How many pieces are there total? There are 9. How many of those are shaded? There are 5. Okay, so that would be 5/9 shaded. 5/9. All right, gang. When you have to estimate a fraction, you need to draw on the figure. You've got to be really, really careful to try to make your pieces the same size and the same shape. Okay, you got to look and see, all right, what can I do with what I have? And a lot of times, it's nothing more than connecting the lines that you see. Okay, most of the time that'll work. All right. So there should be a sheet attached to this. Okay. Pull up the sheet, give it your best shot. Keep working hard. Proud of you.